Hi everyone. Hi Mom. I'm going to say hi to my mom even though she no longer can watch. She's in a home now. Her dementia is pretty bad. So she's in a home and she doesn't even have TV. She won't pay for it. It's my mom's Scottish coming out. But I'm so used to saying hi to her, and I've had a few people comment when I don't say hi, and others who are just new to my channel wonder why I'm saying hi to my mom. This is why, because, she used to watch. Anyway, I wanted to play. I've been working on my newest journal. I'm really excited about this one. I've got all these ideas and they're just going crazy. I can't create as fast as my brain is working. And I want to thank Joy, who is my really good friend's mom. She's just totally inspired me with her newest journal, which should be up real soon, Vintage Moss. You guys need to check it out. It's a beautiful book. And I'm not just saying that because she used my kit. She really is very talented. So I hope you guys can watch. Anyway, I was playing with these little guys. I was sitting here thinking, oh, I want to do this. I have this die. And it's the Tim Holtz Alterations, Sizzix. And it's the, what is it called? Tiny Taps and Tags. I don't know if you can actually make that out. Normally I go around my images with a white gel pen so I can see them, especially if I'm just using a small piece of paper because I only want one thing out of it. That's what I'll do, is I'll go around the images with a white gel pen. Anyway, there's several little tiny tags. There's a couple of tabs, a larger tag, the little reinforcers for the small tag here. I love this die, but I was using up full sheets of leftover papers from, it's actually a lightweight cardstock, K & Company, I believe it is. Anyway, a long time ago I made up all these little tabs and tags, and I never used them and thought, what am I going to use them for? And then I was doing this. So I was creating this page here. Now this part here is in the kit. This is a separate piece, this here, and I've just added it onto the top, and now it becomes a tuck on the outside. Okay. Then it's a tag holder. So I've cut out the center, made a frame, and now there's a tag inside here. I'll show you the tag. It's kind of cute. The tag itself was gifted, but I just stamped and stenciled and then added the little Tim Holtz ladies there. And then I was playing with the tabs or tags or whatever they're called, and you just turn it and then you can open it up, and now you've got a big journaling spot here. But I left it open so it's also a tuck spot. Okay, now I wanted to show you how I did this, because if you turn the page, there's nothing on that side. I didn't want the brad to go through my paper, so this is how I did it. Now, like I said, it's a lightweight cardstock. It's not very thick at all. I wanted some weight to it because you're going to be moving it back and forth and back and forth. So I've created these. That's the one size. And then these are so stinking cute. I love these. So I'm going to show you how I did that. And it's going to be upside down to you. I apologize for that, but I can't work upside down. So all I did was I needed 5 of these. Now, it's a good way to use up paper that you don't necessarily really like that much. You can put it underneath and cover it up with the ones that you do like. I have all the same color, but these ones, no, these little guys, I had paper I didn't really care for, but you can't see it. So you just go ahead and you ink up first. It makes life much easier. And I'll tell you why. When you stack these and you're laying your glue down, sometimes your glue squirts out on the edge and it dries on the edge. So then when you go to add your ink, it doesn't ink properly. It'll skip spots because you've got dried glue there. So just go ahead and do this first. And it's real quick. You don't have to be super duper perfect with it. That's what you, well, unless that's what makes you comfortable. I love the grunginess, so I just kind of go for it. I'm using Vintage Photo, just so you know. All right, so I have all 5 done. This one still has the center, so I'm just going to poke that out. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to take the first 3 and you're going to run your glue. Make sure you get right to the edge. You're going to get really gluey, but hey, that's the fun of crafting. And then you're going to stack the first one. Now, if you just squeeze the top and squeeze the sides, you've got them lined up. And then just give it a squish so that your glue catches and it won't slide all over everywhere. Then you're going to do it one more time. Same thing. A lot of people ask me why I use glue so much. It's cheaper than double-sided tape. And for a lot of things that I do, especially when you're doing pockets and tuck spots, envelopes, different things like that where you're putting things into, you don't want to use double-sided tape because no matter how much you burnish, you're still going to have a little bit of tape so that whatever you're tucking into it, it gets stuck. Okay, so we've got that. The next thing you want to do, I should have had this prepared, sorry. Oh, I don't want that color. Now, if you've got a ton of these brads and they're painted and you don't like the color and you've run out of the color you need, use your alcohol inks. You can change the color. Okay? So don't get rid of those ugly ones. Keep them. They work. Whoops. Okay. Now you're going to take your teeny, now that is a teeny tiny brad, but as you can see, I have a ton of them and I gave a whole bunch away too. This is, you know, one of those moments where you kind of go, I wish I hadn't given all that stuff away. Fortunately, this time I kept some. Okay, so you're going to put it in the ones you've just glued and then one tab. Okay, you're going to flip it over, bend your prongs back. Now, obviously, they're going to be too long, so I take my Tim Holtz scissors. What did I do with them? Oh, I actually put them back. Okay, and then you're going to nip it off and flip it around. Believe it or not, that hit the back of my arm. How is that possible when it's in front of me? But it did. Ricochet. Okay, now I've nipped it off so when it turns, it's not going to stick out. Okay, now you want to put it, let me telephoto in a little. There we go. You want to put your prongs so that they're this way, so you have room up at the top here to add your glue. Now at this point, I haven't squished this down too hard. I'll do that after. Oh, that was dumb. I forgot to put the back on. Pretend that I didn't do that. I'm just going to squish it up and put the other one on. Okay. No, I did that. No, I did that right. What am I thinking? Clearly I didn't have enough caffeine today. Nope, that's correct. Now, we need glue. I'm going to put a bit of glue at the top here, not actually on the brad. And then cover the back here with my glue. Now you notice too, I don't know if you can, but you see I stopped the glue. It's not right at the top. You need room for it to swing. Now you're going to put right side down, although it doesn't matter, but when you're cutting things out with a die like that, if you don't put them in the same direction in which you cut them, they won't fit properly. That's why sometimes when you're layering things, you're like, why doesn't that fit? That's why. And then you give it a good squish. Make sure it's nice and stuck. Okay, and then there you go. Swings around, doo-doo. Now, this part adheres to your paper. So when that's down, you don't see the brad, and it's not cutting in to your page because it's covered. Da-da-da! There you go. There's your first tutorial. I'm going to widen out a little, and I wanted to show you the other thing I've been working on. Now, I've been using up the ends. So when I take a 12 by 12, I cut it down to the page size that I want, and then I keep all of these edges. And I'll make flips with them or, you know, turn them the other way and, you know, use the back of it because it's nicely coffee stained. And I don't throw anything out when it comes with the paper. Even if it's ugly paper, I still don't throw it out because I like the tea stain or the coffee stain side. So with this cut off, I still had some paper left. So this is what I'm working on. I've layered them together so that we have a booklet. I know that's backwards to you, right? Yeah, okay, this way. Now on this side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to create another little tuck spot on the outside. So just stick that down real well. And then on this side, I don't want to cut that off and waste the paper. I'm going to strengthen the edge by just gluing this down. Okay, now the other papers I've got, you know, that one and that one again. So I've got a little book. Actually, I wanted it the other way. How did I want that? Oh, yeah, that's right. So when you open it up, you've actually got a full sheet. And then we've got that. I could do it that way, but then I've got two colored ones together, so I don't really want that. But that's all I'm going to use. And I'm just going to hold that together. And then I wanted to show you this little trick. So you take an archival ink, and you know how you get those threads that you can pull them apart because they're wrapped together. So I had this piece left and I simply pulled off a string, but it's white. Didn't want white. So you take the string, and I am going to pull it apart. You open up this and you lay it on your pad, and you take your tool and you hold it down, and then you just pull it through. Just like that. I'm holding it pretty firmly because I want it dark, and then flip it around so you can get the side you're holding. And there you go. You now have brown. And I didn't get all messy, and it's archival ink, so it won't run when it gets damp or whatever, okay? That's what I want to use for this, because it's just a little tiny booklet. I don't need a big, thick, you know, string. And this is going to be, oh no, I just dropped the needle. And of course, I'm not going to be able to see it on the floor, so I'll just grab another one. I'll find it eventually. There's my little opening here. Okay, here we go. I don't want one that's too thick. Let's go over here. Let's use this one. Okay. Now, if you haven't seen this trick before, you put your thread, let's telephoto in. Especially for those non-sewers. And it's pretty thin, so I probably could just thread it. But if you're having difficulty threading, put your needle under your thread and pull it. Then hold it nice and tight. See how close my thumb is to that? Then pull it out and then thread it. Just like that. Especially for those pieces that tend to be kind of, how can I say it? Hairy's not the right word. Fibrous? There you go. Little pieces sticking out and you're having trouble. That works. Now this is going to be super organic. I'm not going to measure with holes. I'm just going to wing it. So I'm going to start on the inside and middle. And I'm going to find my bend, and I'm going to watch so I don't poke my finger, and just pull it through. I'm going to leave a bit of an end so I have something to tie. Well, I probably should telephoto in a little so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, now hopefully I'll keep you on camera. Apologize if you slide out. And I'm gonna go here. And there we go. Pull that up. And that's close enough. And then back down again. I'm guesstimating, you guys, so is that in the center? Yes, it is. Okay, so now you want to go back down this hole. Okay? Find where you poked it through. Just like that. Then turn it over. Now you see you want to go down this hole. So it looks like a continuous machine stitch, just like a sewing machine would do. Go back up. So now we're starting the other way. So we find our center again, and we're gonna guesstimate here. Now you don't want to go back, you want to continue on till you're at the bottom again. This is such a great way for you guys who are just starting to practice. Just use scrap paper. Practice your stitching. Now, if I was doing an actual journal, like sewing it in, I would have, you know, measured my holes for sure. But this is just a little notebook, so it doesn't matter too much. Make sure that's in the center. Nope, it's not. It's gonna be close enough though. Okay, so I'm at the bottom. Then you're gonna go back up again. Okay, back in the hole, down, up, and there you go. Now, take your needle out and then just give it a tie. I've noticed as I've gotten older that my, actually I should have put it underneath. Sorry, hang on one sec. Not that it matters all that much, but I'm a little anal that way. Just thread that real quick again. I was saying as I get older, I notice that my fine motor skills have really gone downhill. Having a tough time some days. Okay, so you want to put the needle underneath that last stitch there, and then you go ahead and tie it. See, little things like this I find difficult to do. But I never give up. And you just want to give it 2 knots. Should be sufficient. It's just like, you know, a little notebook. And it's painful to watch me, isn't it? Get the thread, Cheryl. Okay, and then I'm just gonna nip that off. I don't care if it hangs, it's just, you know. Now, after I've done all that, then I'm probably just gonna take my little corner cutters and I'm gonna go and just give it a little cut. Nothing fancy, just a tiny one. Take those edges off. Sometimes I like the edges and sometimes I don't. How's my time? What are we at? Oh, 19 minutes. So I've only got about 10 more minutes. I wanted to sort of, you know, kind of show you how I think. You might not want to know that. Anyway, there's your little booklet. And then you can add like a little, oh, I have all kinds of little tags and stuff. This one's too big, but you know, you're going to tuck something in there. Anyway, I also have this little pouch. Now this one I made out of cardstock, so I didn't want to attach it to my book itself, and I wanted it as a loose thing. So I thought, well, isn't that cute, right? Now I have a page that I had planned on that. So this so far is what I've done. And this is kind of how I prep. I go along. So right here is where I wanted to put that. Now, when I'm working on a page, the first thing I do is I get all of my signatures together. I have them placed. I have them coffee stained or tea stained. And then I go ahead and I cut usually, not always. Sometimes if I know I want to do a lot of flips that go inside, where you're adding another edge here, sometimes I'll want to put that all together first and then cut it. Depends on the corner cutter that I've chosen, because some don't like thick paper, in which case you need to cut them separately and then glue them together. But, you know, it doesn't always fit properly, right? So for instance, this was what I was talking about. So here's my flip, and all I've done is folded it back, just like that, cut my ends because I like a little fancy end, added some ephemera here just to make a pocket, but when you flip it up, I've added another piece. So this decorated page that you thought you probably wouldn't use, you can now journal on it. I mean, you can make it bigger, you can make it the size of this, and you can actually journal on this side too, if you want. Personally, I wouldn't do it, but I might stick a photo underneath here and then journal about the photo, or some, you know, ephemera that you've picked up from a restaurant or a play that you've seen, whatever. Just a good way to utilize these patterned pages, okay? So something like this, for instance. Now this is just dollar store stuff, okay? Now I'll show you the one that I did, and I'll be doing the same thing with this one, but I'll show you what I did, and because I didn't prepare it ahead of time, I can't really go through it with you. So I cut a circle that's 1 1/4, and then I cut the circle in half and glued it onto the edge here. Then I took another punch that was a 1-inch punch that also had a scalloped edge, and I went in there and I cut that. So now I have a thumb hole, but this is really thin. That's why I did it, because now you've got an extra thick spot here. I actually did it with a bit of cardstock rather than just paper. So instead of making this page smaller by folding this back and giving it a thicker edge so you're not going to tear it, you know, you can use up your bits and pieces that you have of, like I have this card that it's cut off from one of those time card things. Well, they're great on the one side. I also do stuff like this where I'll punch out all my corners so I can see what they look like. And then, you know, go ahead and use up your bits and pieces for stuff like that. So that's kind of my thought process when I'm putting together a journal. I will make sure all of my signatures are together in the order I want them, and I keep them that way, and I work on them that way. I might pull something out, you know, to work on it separately, but I always keep all the rest together. And as I flip through, then I go, okay, this needs something. What am I going to put with that? And I never like to waste space. So usually if it's a writing surface, then I do something where it will open so that I get the full use of the page. And on the other side, I'll do as a tuck so that you've got more room. You can put something really long in there too, you know, so that you've got a nice spot to hold, you know, your cutoffs. If I had this as a full length, I could just fold it in half and I'd have a really nice big tuck. Great place to journal. But I have all kinds of ephemera, so we're doing that. And that's kind of how I think and how I put my books together. This one is, this is just so much fun to be working on. Like I said, I'm having a blast doing this one. But I wanted to share with you what I'm doing, how I put it together. I'll get all of my ephemera together. I'll get it inked, cut out, layered, and then I decide where I want to put it, you know. So that's, I hope that helps the newbies out there who are trying to put together a journal and don't know what to do once they've got the papers together. Now what do I do with it, you know? Sorry, that's my phone. Anyway, that's what I do with mine. And, you know, you can use up a ton of scraps and punches to create all kinds of different layers and ephemera pieces. And, you know, like you saw that, you know those tickets? Here, I'll show you some. I mean, these tickets are cheap. You can get these at the dollar store and tea stain them up. I buy a lot of stuff like this at the dollar store because it's very inexpensive and it looks fantastic once you've, you know, tea stained it or coffee stained it, and it's great ephemera. I mean, you can make a belly band out of that. You can put it down the side of a page if you want. I like putting it on an angle at the corner of a page, like at the bottom of a page. Let's grab a page. I'll show you what I mean. So if I was to put this like this and glue it here and here, I've now got a tuck spot, you know. And then you can put something over top of it, like, say that, you know. So you've got it a little decorated, so that wouldn't be there. Okay, you just cut off the edges. Once you've glued it down, I'd glue it down first, and then I'd go back and I'd cut the edges. And then I'd put a little something on there, and I would glue the bottom and the top. And then when you slide something in, it's not going to fall out the bottom. So anyway, I had fun with you guys today, and if you enjoyed this, let me know. This will be a tips, tricks, and tools. I don't even know what episode, but you guys will know. It'll be under the playlist for you to go back and look at it if you care to. So thanks for watching, you guys, and we'll talk real soon. Bye.